Gaston Association for giving us the opportunity to speak today. And I'd certainly like to thank all of you for coming out and listening to us. I think one of the biggest tragedies that we've had in our state and in our national government over the last several decades is that people who have been voting for their elected officials haven't paid enough attention. And my heart is warmed to see such a large gathering today in the morning that y'all can come out and actually hear what we have to say.
We're taking our naps in the afternoon.
Well, as Ron said, my name is Glen Bradley. I am a constitutional conservative, and I believe in the oath that I took as a U.S. Marine to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I also believe that one of the reasons that our state government and our federal government has gone off the rails, not just 2, but 10, 15, 20, 100 years now, is that our elected officials have forgotten about the people who sent them there, ignored the Constitution, done anything they like, and left us to clean up the mess. Well, now I believe it's time to clean up the mess. We've heard all the same promises 1,000 times. We keep electing the same people, and things never change. My opponent is a friendly, pleasant man who I would love to know as a friend. But for all the talk about lowering taxes on small businesses, one of his first votes in the State House was to approve a budget increase from Governor Perdue. I believe that if we're really serious about reducing the taxes on small businesses, we should start by reducing the spending that requires that taxation in the first place.
Yes, sir.
Promising to reduce taxes on small businesses while voting to increase spending will only lead to more debt. North Carolina already suffers by this year end $11.5 billion in debt, and that is while we have a balanced budget amendment. We will have to get this debt under control before we can even begin to establish sustainable job growth. Our state and our federal governments are going bankrupt while our legislators increase the budget every single year and then come home and promise to lower taxes. Has anyone ever lowered your taxes yet? No. Well, they've certainly increased the budget. North Carolina is about $4.6 billion in deficit for the year end 2010, despite the fact that we have a balanced budget amendment. Add that to the $7 billion in debt that we already have built up over the last 10 years, and we are now going to $11.5 billion in debt by the end of December. We absolutely must stop this spending madness. The people of North Carolina took the credit cards away from the governor and the House when we ratified the balanced budget amendment, but they just learned new ways to get around it and new ways to ignore it. I don't know about you, but I am tired of a government that won't obey the law.
Or us.
Yes, this means that we have to cut. First, we have to get our fiscal house in order. That means that all of the little stimulus projects have to stop. Now, you don't cure credit card debt abuse by giving the sufferer more credit cards. It's our money. We earned it, and we deserve to know that our money isn't going into a sushi binge in a luxury suite in China. Most of the waste, fraud, and abuse in the system today comes from government overstepping its boundaries. The best way to operate an efficient and inexpensive government is for government to stay in its right place. It's expensive to propagate new narcotics databases to the North Carolina Sheriff's Association, and federal incentive plans always seem to cost us a lot more in the long run than we would have spent had we ignored them in the first place. I also am deeply concerned about education. Programs from the federal government, such as No Child Left Behind, has caused North Carolina schools to start teaching to the tests instead of teaching to the students.
Yes.
Our students come out of school able to take their year-end tests, and they can pass their year-end tests, but when it comes time for them to go out and get into a job, they don't have the critical skills that they need to become successful. It is important that we get away from the model of teaching to the test and get back to the model of teaching our students.
Yes. Yes.
We need to restore the boundaries of government, and then 3/4 of the waste, fraud, and abuse will slough away. Do we have the courage to do it? If we do, then there will be jobs behind it. Lots of jobs in services and in the manufacturing industry will come back to North Carolina for the same reason that they were driven to India and China in the first place. Currently, North Carolina state government and the federal government puts a large burden of regulations and taxations on our small businesses. It's not just the taxes, that's a big part of it, but they also have so many regulations. If you ever look at the large stack of North Carolina state law regarding commercial businesses, no one man can understand it. It's not possible. Companies have to hire legions and battalions of lawyers and accountants just to keep themselves in compliance. And all that money is money that should be spent expanding operations and hiring new workers. We're never going to expand our market economy and bring jobs back until we recognize that it's the over-regulation and taxation burdens on our small companies that are preventing us from hiring in the first place. Now, I believe that we can get North Carolina and the United States back to the Constitution if we can constrain our governments within the constitutional boundaries. This will reduce the regulation and the taxation burdens. This will give companies more money to hire new workers, and jobs will come back, and the economy will rebound. If you look throughout the period of great wealth and prosperity in our state's history and in our nation's history, we have made the most amount of progress in terms of general prosperity when our government stayed within the boundaries of the law. Our elected officials no longer pay attention to the laws of government. That is the Constitution, which was designed to keep government within certain boundaries. It's time to get that back. You do not know yet whether or not I have the courage to stop the spending and cut back on the overstepping of government, because I have not yet had the honor of serving as your state house representative. We do, however, know who does not have the courage to put a stop to the spending madness, and that's the partisan establishment. For the most part, that's both parties in the partisan establishment. Now, I'm a constitutionalist. That means I've had issues with both parties for my entire life. And I intend to go to the North Carolina State House, restore the constitutional order there, and then work with the U.S. Congress to restore the Constitution for our nation. This is my passion. This is what I believe. The same establishment machine that's been in charge of Raleigh for over 120 years, as well as my genial and friendly opponent, who is his party's choice for North Carolina State House. This November, we will either vote for the old guard to continue the decaying stewardship of a dying machine, or we will choose to elect new ideas and fresh solutions. I may be the new kid on the political block, but my entire purpose is going to be to represent your will in Raleigh and to uphold and defend the Constitution against every kind of attack. Ladies and gentlemen, this Marine's got your back. I understand the concerns that are coming in at the ground level. People don't have jobs. People are concerned about their children as to whether they're going to be properly educated. And people are concerned that $1 today is going to take $10 a week from now to buy the same amount of goods. Inflation is running away, wages are falling, and jobs are going away. It's time to rein our government in, cause our government to obey the rule of law, which is the Constitution. And I'm asking for your vote to do just that. My name is Glen Bradley. I'm a former U.S. Marine. I attended Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary. I'm a self-employed small business owner, and I believe that a representative ought to represent the views and the opinions of his constituents in the Capitol. I'm a strict constitutionalist who will take my oath of office very seriously, and if I am privileged by your vote to represent you in Raleigh, then I will work to create a completely unprecedented level of openness, transparency, and communication between my office and you, the constituents of this district. You deserve a government that listens to you, and you deserve a government that represents your interests. Thank you very much, fine people of Lake Gaston, for hosting this event. I'm humbly asking for the honor of your vote in November and during early voting from October 14th through October 30th. And I am running for North Carolina State House. Thank you very much.